We have to answer this question first. What is the Africa we want? So we say we want an Africa that is free of violent conflict and war. What leadership do you produce to get that result? We want an Africa that is free from poverty. What kind of leadership do you need to create to end that poverty? We want an Africa that is free of, that is driven by women's emancipation. Where is this leadership? How do you create it? We want an Africa that is free of corruption. How do you produce this leadership that is not corrupt? Now, these are the questions I took to answer, these practical things that President Kagame was talking about. And it's not an easy question to answer. But I think critically, and we were discussing this thing yesterday, critically, we need a critical self-assessment of ourselves as Africans. To say, as President Kagame was saying, we've been discussing this thing about the quality of leadership, challenges we face for a very long time. But when have we sat down to say, now let us assess, no, you Thabo Mbeki, were president of South Africa for so long. Let's assess your performance. Did you provide this kind of leadership that is suitable for this Africa that we want? Where did you go wrong? We got the African peer review mechanism, which President Obasanjo can speak about. That's part of what it was supposed to do, so that we sit as peers to say, no, but the President, you are misbehaving. You are stealing public resources. You've accessed power in order to put money in your pocket. This is not the leadership we want. But we're not doing that sufficiently because we're afraid. We're afraid to speak frankly to one another about the wrong things that we're doing. And I think if we don't do that, we will meet a century hence to discuss the same question. I think that critical self-assessment of the continent is necessary. And I mean a real, critical, truthful self-assessment. That's critical, and I think that would be an important step forward in terms of producing this kind of leadership which Africa wants.
That old man you've listened to, his name is Thabo Mbeki. Thabo Mbeki was the former president of South Africa. And Thabo Mbeki was taken out of power. He wasn't given a chance to prove himself. Now, I've been listening to many leaders in Africa, those who rose someday and their intention was to build up a new Africa. Yeah, to build up the Africa that everybody wants, the Africa that favors every individual, the Africa that really like Africa that makes people happy. You know, we are living in an Africa country, a continent right now that when you try to do anything positive, people look at you as a primitive person, or people look at you as someone who does not make any sense. Now, that speech from Thabo Mbeki, he was addressing some leaders. You've seen Paul Kagame there, and many leaders were there. And he was telling them that we want to build an African continent where there is justice, African continent where people can be able to live better, people can be able to live happily, where if a youth stands up today and sells his or her ambition to become the leader, people don't start looking at him with another eye. People do not want to kill him or take him down. Where when a mother stands on the street and says, we are dying with anger, a leader can be able to listen to that mama who is crying on the street. Where children are going to school without paying money for education, where the country's infrastructure is being built day and night, where the tax collection of the people in a country, it's being used in a constructive way that people can be able to see it. We want to live in a continent and in a country where we don't depend on the outside powers. We don't depend on the foreign powers. We don't depend for America to come and build us up, or to come and give us the so-called USAID and the aids from little credits here and there. We don't want to live in a country where a brother stands up and gets a gun and kills a brother. We don't want to live in a continent where there is injustices left, right, center every other day. We want to live in a country and in a place where people live peacefully, people live better, people are happy. In a continent where we can be able to see growth, we can be able to be respected, we can be able to be seen. And when we are talking about our continent, or as far as our continent is concerned, people can be able to show some respect. Right now, we are living in a continent where people don't care about us. Africa is just a continent where people are poor, where there is all types and kinds of sickness. That is where every kind of problem is. And that is why you find out that Donald Trump can wake up one day and say, I want to ban all Africans from coming to the United States of America. Or if they have to come, they must pay as high as $15,000 for a single visa. Yet Americans are coming to African countries any day they want, anytime they want, anyhow they want. They come in, they go out. Nobody's supposed to ask them any question. Nobody's supposed to interfere with their travel in and out of the country. No one should say anything. But when it comes to a black person visiting the United States of America, they are considered as criminals. They are considered as people who are incompetent. I heard Donald Trump speaking and he was saying that we want competent people in our countries, people who have gone to school and they have education so they can be able to influence other people in our country, which means those people who are in America with the low standards of life, who are black Americans or are black Africans in America, those are the people who are being targeted to be taken out of America. Yeah? And you find out we have people in Africa who are not Africans. They're Americans and they're living better. Nobody cares. Nobody's even concerned about them. Now, Africa is seen as a place where people are not concerned about Africa. People don't care about Africa. People don't want to know how Africa is living or something like that. And for many years, we've not had leaders who can be able to stand and speak on the behalf of the rest of Africans or for the rest of the black people who are living in the continent. We've had problems all other times. The leaders we get are those leaders who accept to be given some peanuts and they fall for peanuts. They do not care about the rest of the people. It doesn't matter whether people are dying or crying. It doesn't matter whether they have people who are homeless. It doesn't matter to them at all. It doesn't concern them. They do not care about it. For many years, we've had leaders who they cannot stand up and speak truth to power. The leaders we had, they were taken out. And after they were taken out, it has been very difficult for us to find another leader who can be able to speak truth to power. We had Kwame Nkrumah in those years. Kwame Nkrumah was taken out. We had the people like Thomas Sankara. We had people like Patrice Lumumba. The leaders who wanted to speak truth to power. The leaders who wanted a real freedom, a real independence. Because Africa is not yet independent. What we are told is that we are independent, but Africa is not independent. And I came up with this topic today so that we can be able to understand what we have in Captain Traore and what value do we have in these three leaders from the Sahel who are trying to fight the imperialists, who are trying to fight the problems that we are facing, the problems that their countries are facing, who are trying to fight to unite the whole of Africa, to unite all the black people, to bring them back together, yeah, to make sure that these people can be able to live better together, to make sure that that everything we lost in the previous years, we are able to regain them back. It is only by having somebody who is ready to stand for the people and for the rest of the people that we can be able to live better. We can be able to also revive ourselves, because it's not easy. Right now, we are not revived. Right now, we aren't independent. we are still operating under a white man's control. And that is why many African countries, they still don't grow. Tell me why a continent that is very rich and wealthy still borrowing and still begging from the West to be able to be given some little things here and there. Tell me why. Tell me why a continent that is fruitful. Tell me why the only continent that has fertile soil, being the poorest continent in the whole world. Tell me why we are the only people in this country that when we want to get good treatment, we must go out or go abroad. That we must go for further education in the United States of America, in Oxford University, and many other universities outside Africa. Can't we have universities in Africa that can be able to give the African people or the black people the knowledge they want until they go outside countries? When they go there, they don't come back to Africa. Now we've lost brains. We've lost people who are supposed to be working to make sure they're building Africa. And that's why Traore comes and says, no youth from Burkina Faso will ever go out of his country in search of education. He's building first class schools in Burkina Faso. No, any patient will go out in search of medication and all that. He's building first world hospitals in Burkina Faso because he understands what he wants. He understands what we need to do and how we're supposed to live. Now, the only leader we have who is carrying all the visions of the great leaders that we lost is Capt.Ibrahim Traore. Traore has a vision of Thomas Sankara. Traore has a vision of Patrice Lumumba. Traore has a vision of Kwame Nkrumah. Traore got a vision of great leaders like Thabo Mbeki, great leaders like John Pombe Magufuli was also taken out. Traore has a vision of great leaders like Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere. Traore has a visions of great people like Marcus Garvey and many other. Traore has a vision of all these people in one man. He is the only one remaining today, and a few who are following him, a few who are supporting him. Therefore, we need to make sure that we are supporting Captain Traore so much, because we need an Africa that is different. We can't continue living in a place where people do not care about other people, where brother is killing a brother. They've always used the black people to kill black people. They don't want to be involved so that they will not be blamed. But at the end of the day, they are the ones who are orchestrating everything that is happening. Look at what is happening in Congo today. Look at what has been happening to many African countries. Even recently in Kenya, we've experienced chaos. These chaos are being made by one person. And the reason as to why these chaos are being made or they're coming across, it is because there is something that the people want in return. Africa is a continent that is bigger. A continent that has everything. We are not supposed to be treated like people who have no right or people who are dependent. We are not dependent. Instead, they must be depending on us because of what we produce, because of what we give, because of what we have. Therefore, our leaders must unite to build up an Africa that is better. An Africa that when our children will come to live in, an Africa that when our children will look at it, they will be able to feel good, they will be able to live better, they will be able to be happy, because there is a generation that is coming, and this generation is going to ask us many questions. We were there, you were existing that time, you were living that time. What did you do? What were you able to do? It's high time we should stop having some problems with ourselves. It is high time we should stop fighting our own selves. It is high time we should stop receiving credits and receiving peanuts for us to work for the governments of the imperialists. It is high time we should start thinking about the people who placed us into the government, the people who voted for us, the people who elected us, the people who came and said, we want you to be able to lead us. It is high time we should think about our brothers and sisters. You're thinking about a white person. You've left your black brother and sister here crying every day. You do not care. It is none of your business. You are a leader today. After you are out of power, what legacy are you going to leave behind as a leader? Africa will be built by us. Traore said, if you're waiting for anybody to come and build an African country that is super for you, then we are very sorry for you, because that's not going to happen. Africa should be built by us, because we have the power to build Africa ourselves. Captain Traore has been an example. He expelled France and he started building Burkina Faso himself. In a very short time, look at how France is looking like. Look at how Burkina Faso is looking like. The French country that you thought was rich, now it's suffering and dying because of its economy going down. The country that you thought it is richer than Burkina Faso, which means everything they were having and getting and they were using to survive was wealth from Burkina Faso. Now, for how long should we continue doing the kind of things we are doing? We need to live better. We need to live with understanding. Let's understand our people. Let's understand what our people want. Let's understand what is better for the people of Africa. Let's understand which kind of life we're supposed to live as black people and as Africans. Do we want to continue living under threats? Do we want to continue living under this pressure? Do we want to continue being pressured and being pressed by the West governments? Do we want to continue being threatened and being destroyed and being used, manipulated, and oppressed? Do you want to continue being discriminated? It is high time we should stand up, we should come out and say no to all these things. So any leader who has a vision of our greatest leaders who were here before and they were no longer here, we are supposed to support those leaders, take care of them, protect them, and fight along with them. Because we were told we must fight. If we don't fight, nobody is coming to fight on our behalf. We will be here, manipulated, oppressed, discriminated, and at the end of the day, we're going to die poor, and our people will remain slaves for the rest of their lives. Tell me what you think in the comment section. I'll do my best to make sure I read the comments and give a response where possible. I am Atamba. This is African Streamline. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always being here, for choosing this channel and making it your stop over today. For the returning subscribers, I salute you. If it's your first time to be here, don't forget subscribe. God bless.